Okay, hey everybody. Do you know this channel? This morning I woke up and I don't know what it was, why I was focused on this, but this channel, or maybe it was last night, but this channel I originally started out because I was going to talk about what it's like to be, have something rare about you. See, I have a rare health condition, but also what caused, as far as I know, the rare health condition when I was a child, and results of that caused possibly something else that's kind of rare. And last summer, I was told that I might have even yet another rare health condition. I wanted to start the channel to talk about that because it's not like those things really helped me. One of them, yeah, but no. It's made, there's to all of it, made life sometimes, at times, difficult. Even healthcare providers. And in fact, these days, this is where I get the most problems, what would I even call it? They throw the most negativity out at me, or healthcare providers. Seriously. You would think that they would be professional. It could just be my experience, and it could just be because I do have that rare health condition, the original one, since childhood. And I'm not going to name them. I had before in the past. I don't want to do it again. I've decided a few years ago, that I was going to stop doing that. And so I just have this rather rare health condition. Many healthcare providers, like the one I just saw the specialist for, finally after 5 months of waiting, I saw him last week, and first thing he did was doubt me on this. I like him, he's a nice guy, but each and every time they doubt me, and he even said something was said. Adam was with me. I don't know if Adam said something, I just said something. But he said, well, they wouldn't know, other, he's a young guy, other healthcare professionals, other healthcare specialists in that field, other healthcare providers that are not specialists in that field, they would not know. They should, because otherwise they're the ones causing me all these problems by making assumptions. And even what I had told him then, I think it was right after that, was this one, she not only acted like she knew what she was talking about, but she doubled down. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what, before I said double down, he said, well, she wouldn't know. And I said, exactly, but she doubled down. And he went, kind of, But, yeah, there's so much more to that. Do you see these clouds? They are really moving and changing so fast. A while ago, I was making another video, and all of a sudden, I looked at it's kind of like, not exactly upside down, but close enough. I looked at it, it was no clouds in the sky all of a sudden. I was like, now tell me how that happened. I mean, it was there, and then suddenly not there. The clouds. They were there. But anyway. Okay, now here's the thing about it. The rare health condition causes me a lot of problems. It's health-wise, the way people treat me, like I just said, because a lot of people want to doubt it because it's so rare. And and one of the things I have been thinking a lot about, I just turned 62, and I even asked Adam, he's older than I, he and I been married over 40 years ago. Asked him probably a month or two ago, I don't know when it was, does he remember when I first told him about, these two of these rare things? Or I asked him about the next one. And, but I can't remember either one. When I told anybody, I'm talking anybody, about any of these. And I'm 62. I think it was when I was in my 50s, late maybe, before I mentioned them to anybody. Not even my parents knew. Well, my dad had a suspicion about one. I don't think he thought about it the same way. But, yeah, I mean, let me tell you what the other one is. And I can tell you that once I started talking about it, I didn't tell everybody. I told very few. And I think being online helped me to talk about it. But, you know, people are going to, if it's something good, oh man, and you mention it, there's actually research that says that if a woman now mentions it, and it's something that could help people to say, oh, well, this is supposedly somebody we should listen to. You know, it's a voice of authority. That's what I call them. Other people call them that too. You know, somebody who's a voice of authority. And you know, that can be a voice of authority in anything. But there's research that says if a woman does it, it is thought of as her bragging. If a man does it, that's what he's supposed to do, because we're supposed to know if he's qualified. You know, he has the credentials. But a woman, no, she's bragging. That is bad. That is very bad. That is wrong. It should not be that way. But mine is, and I can tell you, the reactions can be so unbelievable. Believably hate-filled. And some people say, yeah, you know, I would too, because of the way things are these. And, you know, not just these days. I recall when I was young. But it is that I have, and I never tell anybody the score, I'm doing air quotes, I have an impressive IQ. Okay, I do. I don't tell anybody what it is, but it's impressive. Oh no, you can't be that. You know, no. And when I was growing up, females really were taught. Don't ever, you know, the expression was, don't ever tell a boy or a man or male that you're smarter than they are in math. I was a math whiz. Seriously, I've always been a female now, always have been, always will be. And oh man, when I was in school, the response to me, I didn't care, because I didn't know that when I was in high school. I didn't care. Hey, you know, you do what you do, I do what I do. You know, it really wasn't a big thing to me. I didn't care. You know, I wasn't doing it to spite them or something. But I can tell you, the reaction that people have, oh my goodness. Especially when you get older, the people who have a lot of resentment toward anybody that has anything special about them. You know, grow up. That's how I see it. I thought you were an adult. But that's how I see it. And I'm really not telling anybody what to do. But that's an expression. Grow up. But honestly, think about how humble I have been. Honestly, think about how humble. I was raised to be very humble. Guess why? Exactly. I was raised to be very humble. I'm a rather humble person. Always have been. For me not to tell anybody this until I was in my 50s, seriously, you have to be very, and it wasn't something like, you have to be very humble, but it wasn't something like I'm saying, okay, I'm going to be humble. It wasn't something like that. It was just part of who I am. And I saw really, I can't even say why, because I don't really know why. I really don't know why. I just kept it all to myself. That including the rare health condition that has caused me nothing but trouble in my lifetime. I just didn't tell people. But I will say this. I have spent my lifetime, unfortunately, not by choice and not my choice, around people who, when you look in the DSM under like narcissistic personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder. People who have those characteristic traits, they don't fit. I don't diagnose. That's rather wrong too. If a person diagnoses, that's not your job, and you're not credentialed. But yeah, the behaviors of I've seen them go to the extreme in some of them, and some of them have actually been diagnosed. But the only ones I personally know, personally, have been diagnosed was a borderline personality disorder. So, but what I've seen is a lot of people with narcissistic behaviors and histrionic behaviors. They have to be center of attention. Like narcissistic, they want to be thought of as, to be glorified, but the histrionics, they don't really care. They just want to be center of attention, negative attention, positive attention. They want to have attention. And those who are negative, you're just haters. You're just bashers. You're just whatever is the current thing, a troll or whatever. In case you're wondering, my voice is kind of going out, so I sound kind of funny. It actually sounds like, what do they call that these days? Or maybe it's not that. I looked up the other day, I was trying to look up something about voice, and this wasn't it, but it came out, it's called fry or something. Like, I had not heard anything about that. But I'm not trying to do this on purpose. It's weird how it sounds, but it's allergies. Okay, anyway, one of the things I wanted to do was to have a channel that I can talk about these things, because I use my channels have plural, for 11 years, for pressure release valve, venting. And I'm not trying to teach anybody anything, or I don't give advice or anything, any suggestions, anything like that ever. And just for me to vent and talk about stuff and all that, vlogish, this kind of thing. And I wanted to talk about these things, but I never got around to it. Seriously. To just talk about what it's like. And I don't want it to sound, pompous or, better than thou kind of thing. But, having an impressive IQ, it's, knowing how analytical I am extremely analytical. I took the GRE. They have an analytical section in the place that, I guess you still called them back then, still called now, maybe test proctors, I think. They were bragging about it. They said, did you know that? Yeah, I've had people say, do you know your IQ? Yeah, why wouldn't I? Test proctors, Anyway, my legs are getting so swollen, my feet. This is not good. I just started uphill today. Now that I'm looking, this is something else I want to talk about. I guess that's going to mean no to the pill. So I'm going to have to ask. But anyway, I just now looked and just now saw that, and I'm just now going, whoa, that is not good. Like edema, really bad. I just took, like I said, just started taking the pill, and one of the things it's supposed to do is the opposite of that. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go and make a phone call and see if I can get somebody to ask somebody about this. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.